Hello, my name is Dr. Ryan Ramphel, and I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Epidemiology, Human Genetics, and Environmental Science at the UT Health Science Center at Houston School of Public Health. Today I'm going to explain how to navigate the COVID-19 Community Metrics for School Districts dashboard and how to interpret some of the data points. This is a semi-private dashboard that's only supposed to be viewed by people who have been given permission and have been given a username and password. So let's take a look at the dashboard. On the left is a bar chart that shows COVID-19 incidents by school district for the 21 school districts in and around Harris County. On the right is a heat map of COVID-19 incidents by school district. What is incidence? Well, incidence is just an epidemiological term for new cases over a period of time. Just like some maps you might have seen display new cases over the last 7 days at the county level or at the zip code level, this dashboard displays them at the school district level. Because the area that encompasses each school district has a different underlying population, however, we have to population adjust the new cases in order to compare them across school districts. So we display COVID-19 cases per 100,000 people, which is like saying if all the school districts had 100,000 people living within their boundaries, this is what COVID-19 incidence would look like for this time period. On the bottom left corner, you can see a legend that color codes incidence per 100,000 people using the stoplight gradient, where less than 1 case per 100,000 people means the risk of infection is low. 1 to 10 new cases per 100,000 people mean the risk of infection is moderate. 10 to 25 new cases per 100,000 people mean the risk of infection is elevated, and greater than 25 new cases per 100,000 people means the risk of infection is very elevated. As you can see, most of the school districts are in the moderate and elevated categories on this map. But by the time you see this dashboard, I will have updated the data and it might look different. You can also see the data sources and the date range at the bottom left corner of the page. As you can see, we received COVID-19 case data from Harris County Public Health and the Houston Health Department. While we receive new data each week, we generally display data from a few weeks prior to accommodate for delays in reporting. This data is more accurate than newly received data. If we displayed data each week as we got it, it would always paint a rosier picture of the situation than reality, because the next time we receive data, there's always going to be a plethora of backdated cases that just took a while to be reported to the city of Houston and Harris County. So it's just better to show data from a few weeks prior. Plus, from an epidemiological standpoint, it's more important to understand the trends than it is to understand what's going on at any given moment in time in a specific geographical area. Now let's take a look at some of the dashboard's functionality. You can hover over each school district on the bar chart on the left panel, and it'll tell you the incidence per 100,000 people for that school district at this given point in time. You can also click on any of the bars. Let's pick on Alief ISD, for example, and it will zoom to that school district in Flash. Now keep in mind, this map works just like any other map that you're used to dealing with, any other web-based map. You can pan, you can zoom backwards, you can zoom forward. You can also click on a feature. So let's click on Alief ISD, for example. And it has a lot of information about Alief ISD. It's got the district number, it's got the area population. So that's the population of people living within this geographical boundary, about, close to 300,000 people. It also tells you incidence per 100,000 people and incidence change from the last 2-week period. Finally, there's some other data points that I'll go into detail on later. Rate of transmission, also known as RFT, TPR, which is test positivity rate, and TPR change. Let me bring your attention to some of the features in the right corner. So one feature that's pretty interesting is you can type in an address or place and it'll zoom on the map to that location. So let's look up an address that I happen to know, Houston, Texas, and it'll zoom to the location of that particular residence in case you're interested in seeing, an address in relation to this heat map. This ribbon right here will help you get back to the default extent of the map. So see how we zoomed all the way out here? This will take you back to, the original view of the map. This button right here will display the legend. That shows all the layers that are displayed right now on this map. So you have your legend here. We're also showing the boundaries of Harris County. This one is probably the most interesting feature in that it allows you to turn on and off various layers on this map. So you want to take off Harris County, just click this button. Harris County is no longer there. You want to layer on area schools, click this button, and these are all the schools in this area. You can zoom in, you can click on any one of them, and it'll tell you information about them. So this one is what? Harmony School of Fine Arts and Technology, those kinds of things. You can turn that off. You can layer on the city limits of Houston, so you can see the actual city of Houston in relation to this map. You can turn it off. You can even take off the heat map and just see the county if you wanted to. Now keep in mind, if you ever get lost and want to get back to the absolute original view, all you have to do is hit the refresh button on your browser, and it'll refresh the dashboard to its complete original view. The final tool they have in this toolbar here is the ability to change the base map. So this is the base map, the underlying map. If you wanted to, for example, change it to an aerial image and zoom in, stuff like that, it gives you that ability as well. So these are just some interesting features that it has. Again, if you want to get back to the original view, simply click right there. So now that I've shown you incidence by school district, I want to show you another feature. This feature right here shows incidence by census tract. Now, what's a census tract? A census tract is a geographical area. They're generally a lot smaller and granular than zip codes. So let's zoom in on ALEAF, for example, and let's turn on our legend. So you can get an idea of where within ALEAF ISD might cases be elevated or very elevated. Now, for some census tracts, I purposely masked the data because when you get to this small of geography, you don't want to be displaying information saying, for example, there is a COVID positive person, at least from October 28th through November 3rd, living in this area that's less than 0.8 square miles. So we purposely mask certain data points, and even on areas of the district that are elevated, for example, it will just say elevated. I'm not going to tell you exactly how many people per 100,000 are COVID positive in that area, just to protect confidentiality. But the benefit of knowing at a granular level where there are areas with elevated case counts is you could, for example, layer on area schools. And what that would enable you to do is check on this and say, hey, okay, at Outlay Elementary, we should kind of keep an eye on Outlay Elementary because it's in an area with very elevated case counts. Or we should keep an eye on Owens International Campus because it's in an area with high case counts. The final incidence-related map tab I want to show on this dashboard is this one right here. What this one shows is new cases by school district for only students and teachers within those school districts. This is the same data that each school district is required to report to the Texas Department of State Health Services. And you can get an idea of what it looks like here. If you click on the legend, you'll see these are new cases. They're not population adjusted. They're not new cases per 100,000 or anything. They're just purely new cases for that time range. And this one happens to be from October 26th through November 1st. So you can see there's a lot of red. There's a lot of areas where there are more than 25 new cases. There's some orange areas where there are 10 to 25 new cases. I couldn't population adjust this one because you need a denominator. You need to know new cases per people that are doing in-person learning. And that data isn't quite available, at least accurately, on the Texas Department of State Health Services website as of now. But yeah, this is an idea by school district of new cases among just students and teachers, but it's all contingent upon the data that's reported by these school districts to the state. So you can click on them just like any other of the maps in this dashboard and see district number, area population. It shows enrollment and on-campus enrollment, but on-campus enrollment isn't entirely accurate because it says on-campus enrollment as of like late September, and these things have fluctuated. So I just display this one right here. I just display new cases. So you can get an idea of how many actual new cases are in these school districts for this time range of students and teachers only, and just by clicking on these districts and looking at this informational tab. So now let's click on another tab that'll teach us about a different epidemiological tool called test positivity rate. So there's a bar chart for test positivity rate and also a heat map for test positivity rate. There's a little definition at the bottom left corner of the screen about what test positivity rate is, and it's basically of those tested, what percent are positive. A test positivity rate is an indicator of, are we testing enough? In general terms, a test positivity rate of less than 5% indicates sufficient testing. But as you can see from this bar chart and the heat map, at the school district level at least, none of the school districts are below 5% test positivity rate. Most of the school districts are in the 5 to 10% category, and there are actually quite a few of them in the elevated category. Just like the other map, you can pick a school district, click on it, and it'll zoom to that specific school district. And you can click on it and see a lot of the same information you saw before. But this basically has a test positivity rate of 12.71, meaning basically 12.71% of the people tested positive. And that's actually a decrease from the last 2-week period. So that one decreased. That's an interesting thing to note. You can, pan, zoom, look at any other school district you want to look at and see similar information there. Okay, everybody, so I want to refresh the dashboard and show you one more tab that doesn't have a map that accompanies it. This tab right here in the bottom left, R of T, stands for rate of transmission. Now, R of T is a measure of contagiousness, or how many people one COVID-19 positive person infects in the community. It's a difficult measure to calculate, and so for certain districts, small districts mainly like Channelview and Crosby and Huffman and Waller, we don't have enough data to even calculate rate of transmission. But for the districts we do have enough data to calculate R of T, an R of T greater than 1 indicates that the epidemic is increasing in that geographical area, and an R of T less than 1 indicates that it's declining. And as you can see, for most of the school districts, it appears to be increasing. We calculate R of T using Harris County public health data and City of Houston case data, and we use a 2-week interval in this case, from October 19th through November 2nd. And like I said, some school districts we couldn't calculate. There's not an accompanying map for R of T because there's just so many districts that don't have enough data to calculate it, but it is a good measure that you'll hear a lot when talking about this pandemic. So with that, I'm going to refresh the dashboard, bring it back to its original view, and just mention that if there are ever any questions about this dashboard or some of the data that is displayed, I'm an easy guy to get a hold of. You can get my information from the School of Public Health's website. A lot of this data takes really a lot of man hours to clean and to massage and then to display in this manner. But we do hope to update this dashboard every week so that you should be able to log in and see updated data. And once you get familiar with navigating it, which I can help as well, anyone needs any assistance in navigating the dashboard as well. But anyway, I hope that it can be used as a tool to potentially help understand how we could potentially maybe curb some of this epidemic. Thank you.